Hey, I'm Ann Wilson, the Wealth Chef, and I want to talk to you about one of the most fatal mistakes most people make when they try and grow their wealth, when they start investing, when they start expanding their asset drawer, is it's all about focus, and they focus on the wrong thing. So I was reminded of the importance of focus when recently I was out riding a motorbike and we were going around these corners. And when I first learned to ride a motorbike, I went and did this trip with my twin brother. And I could remember the instructor told me, focus on where you want to go, focus on where you want to go, because your motorbike will actually follow wherever your head goes. But that can be easier said than done. You go, yeah, absolutely, focus where you want to go, round the corner, and there your bike will follow. And off my twin and I had set off, and we were going around these amazing bends in an area of South Africa called Mpumalanga, and there's these extraordinary mountains and these turns, and there's this area called Long Tom's Pass, and there was these extraordinary bends. Now, I was still quite new to my motorbiking. I was a little bit nervous, and we were coming around these bends, and I realized that I was starting to focus on where I didn't want to go. I was starting to look down that cliff face. I was starting to see the rocks that I didn't want to smash into. And my brain started to go to all the things that I didn't want to happen. It started to go to the fear place. And this happens in all areas of our life. In fact, it's one of our more natural tendencies is to go and focus on loss avoidance, the risks we want to avoid. And whilst at some level that may have kept us safe, when we're wanting to expand in our life, when we're wanting to expand in wealth, when we're wanting to go into new areas, it actually can be the thing that prevents us from going where we want to go. And this is called focusing on loss avoidance, rather than focusing on creating wealth and freedom. And humans do this the whole time. So there I was riding this motorbike and kept focusing on this edge that I didn't want to go down. I did not want my motorbike to go tumbling down that cliff because I knew it wasn't going to be pretty if I did. But even though I heard my instructor's voice in my head saying, focus on where you want to go, focus on where you go, my eyes kept going down, and I thought I could trick this. I thought, my eyes could just focus on that edge because I didn't want to take my eye off it, because I thought if I took my eye off that edge, I might go off it. But I thought, oh, well, let me move my head to where I want to go. But the reality is your body knows where you're focusing on. And a motorbike's an extraordinary experience to really understand that literally your body, you go where your focus goes. And this happens in your investing, in your wealth, in your actions. If you focus on what you don't want, that's exactly where you want to go. If you focus on how to avoid loss, you're never going to be able to create wealth. And so despite trying to keep the motorbike going, this motorbike kept veering out because I was focusing on where I didn't want to go. I was focusing on avoiding loss, not on my freedom and having an amazing ride. And so this bike started going further and further out into the wrong lane. And before I know it, I was struggling with this bike. And next minute, I heard this big truck coming around a corner, and I was in the wrong lane. I was about to have a head-on collision with this truck because I was focusing on the wrong thing. I was focusing on where I didn't want to go, on avoiding loss instead of my freedom and wealth. And that jolted me. That real fear of actually real survival made me focus on where I needed to go. And I put my head up, I looked at where I want to go, and the motorbike lifted up, and I just missed that truck. And I share this with you because most people do this when it comes to their wealth. They start investing and they get fixated on, but Anne, what if the market drops? What if I lose the money? The truth is, all of those fears are completely unrealistic. When you have a investment plan in place, a strategy, having asset allocation, diversification, investing in these bundled funds, it's almost impossible to lose money. But when you fixate on those risks, one, you're either not even going to start. You're not even going to start investing because you're going to be so paralyzed by not wanting to lose that you forget what the whole point here is, to create assets so that you can win, so that you can have wealth, so these assets can start working for you. So that's the greatest risk of all is that you never ever get started. Then the second thing can happen is maybe you do get started, a bit like me on the motorbike, you're riding, but you're now getting nervous. And there's nothing like doing something to bring your fear up, because the very nature of the fact that you're doing anything new, investing, expanding, creating a new reality, whether it's in your business or relationship, whatever, if there's something that you want that isn't already in your life, by its very nature, it's outside of your comfort zone. So it's going to trigger fears. And if you start focusing on, what happens if this relationship doesn't work? What happens if this business goes broke? What if this, launch that I'm doing doesn't work? If you start focusing on all the ways that it won't work, everything that can go wrong, you are actually going to contract, and your energy is going to all be sucked there. And the reality is, it might not be that exact thing that doesn't work, but what is guaranteed is you're never going to get the success and the results you want. So notice on where in your life are you focusing on avoiding loss instead of creating wealth. And then one of the third really devastating things can happen. Now, in my live events, I always play a great game. Well, in one of my live events at Financially Free You Live, we play this great game, which is really designed to trigger, where are people focusing? Are they focusing on avoiding loss? And what can happen with unconsciously or sometimes consciously with humans is not only do they want to avoid loss, so they will keep doing things they would rather lose, but lose less, than actually change their strategy to win more. But also, what people will often do is they'd rather drag other people down with them. So let's say somebody is investing and go, oh, no, that's really scary. They've never taught themselves how, they don't know what to do, but they will project their fears onto others. And so make sure that others lose as well, and we don't stay in their own lane. So be careful about focusing on loss. Are you focusing on loss avoidance, or are you focusing on creating your wealth? Is really important distinction. So I'm Ann Wilson, and if you're watching this anywhere over than at thewealthchef.com, head on over there and leave me a comment below the video. And I'd love to know, where in your life have you been focusing on avoiding loss instead of focusing on where you want to go, creating wealth? And if you just shift your focus, what is one action you could do now which would prove to you that you are moving towards where you want to go, rather than staying stuck, just trying to avoid that loss? And remember, your life is meant to be lived. Money is meant to serve and support you. Get in the right relationship with, become a great leader with your money by understanding these subtle distinctions, understanding how to be great with it. And that is how we create the life we want. And we avoid any of those losses and the risks by becoming great with our money.